Hey guys, Captain Unusual here, and I just want to lay out my experience ordering coins. It's the first time I've ever done it, and I received them. It took long enough to get them. The shipping was free, so I don't really have anything to complain about. But it did take like 2 weeks to get them. The company that I ordered them from, Littleton Coin Company, and it's not the Littleton that you're thinking of. It's a little town in New Hampshire. They actually sent me this article from the Philadelphia Inquirer from 1992, Tuesday, July 21st, 1992, and it's just a copy of an article that they were written up in the Philadelphia Inquirer about how they reflect small town virtues. And I just kind of want to do a little review of the experience itself and basically like what I think of it, what I thought of the experience, and all of that. I ordered out of Parade magazine. I still read Parade magazine for the love of God. I don't know why, because there's no real content in there. But my parents give it to me in the mail. You know, like they give me the tidbits, they give me the Sunday comics, and they give me Parade every week. So it's kind of this tradition where it's like, even though I'm not necessarily interested in any of those things, I still read them.
But that's also kind of how I grew up too. There's like a shared communal experience with the newspaper.
Yeah.
I never really read it directly, but my parents always are like, "Here's an article you like. Here's a," you know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, my parents, when I was a kid, I really liked the comics, so they still save those for me, even though there aren't really a lot of comics left, but especially not a lot of good ones. But anyway, back to the point. There was a deal. They advertise for coin stuff all the time. Some of them aren't even real coins. They're like medallions.
Wow.
With like Ronald Reagan and Trump.
Oh, wow.
And they're just total rip off. Like they're just a horrible deal. They're like cheap pieces of crap. They say that they're richly plated, and I got to tell you, there's no such thing as richly plated. Like silver plating or gold plating actually doesn't even add any value to an item. That's something a lot of people don't realize. But if you've ever dealt in any kind of metal or precious metals, jewelry, cutlery, whatever, anything that's plated or is made out of metal, silver and gold plating add no value to an item, even if it's quote richly plated. And there's another category called gold filled, which is an even thicker plating, but it still absolutely no. It's no replacement for solid gold. It's like solid gold or solid silver is just it's in a category unto itself. It's its own thing. So anyway, there's a lot of kind of predatory like offers like that where they say, get this commemorative medallion, and then coin is like in quotation marks, because it's not from the U.S. Mint. It's not a real coin. It's a medallion. It doesn't even have any face value because it's not a real coin. And you can tell it's cheaply made. It's made out of brass or it's plated it's very lightly plated in gold, even though they say richly plated. But in this case, I actually saw a pretty good deal. And I've seen these kind of deals before, and I've always been tempted to order, and I never did, because I always thought there's got to be some kind of catch. Even though I'm someone who is pretty well educated on metals, metallurgy, coins, collectible things, I've worked in, I wouldn't say like in the pawn shop industry, but I've worked in similar jobs. I've worked in similar types of environments, buying and selling things. And so I kind of, I'm pretty well informed about a lot of the stuff. I know how to appraise items. And
when you're familiar with the secondary market, both purchasing and selling in
right,
quite a bit.
Right, and metallurgy is one of my main interests. So I happen to know that these coins are 90% silver, 10% copper. That's called coin silver. And then there's British silver, which I believe is 80%. There's sterling, which is 92.5%, and then there's 95% that has a name, I forget what it's called, and then 99.9%, which is basically pure gold. And it's and I ordered this. It was 3 Liberty half dollars. As it turns out, these are all 1936, which are old. These are the oldest walking Liberty coins I've ever seen, half dollars. And as you can see, they're not in the best condition. They're worn, but I knew that going into it that they weren't going to give me the best stuff. They just said, if you order, we'll send you 3 of these, but they are worth something. They're, in terms of collector value, they're worth maybe about $6 or $7, and that's about what I paid. But they're also worth that much in melt value, which is what I care about, because there are different kinds of coin collectors. There are coin collectors who just collect for the fun of it. They're like true collectors, where they're like, there's a certain thing either they're into silver dollars, or they're into pennies, or they're into like a certain type, banknotes. They're into bond notes sometimes. There's just certain things that certain money collectors and coin collectors are into. And then there are people who collect coins chiefly as an investment. Mm-hmm. And then there are people who, like me, who collect coins chiefly as a hedge. That's what I do. My main interest is collecting coins for their metal, for their melt value as a hedge against inflation. That's kind of the main thing that fascinates and interests me. The fact that these coins, if you spent them at the mall, they'd only be worth 50 cents. Mm-hmm. But the silver content, the silver in them, is worth about $6.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, so it's like, and now, and so silver is always gradually going up. Mm-hmm. I mean, over time, it goes up and down, but it doesn't just keep up with inflation; it actually outruns inflation. And I'm a big fan of silver. I strongly prefer silver over gold. Silver is like, not just for aesthetic reasons, but also because half of the silver that's ever been produced has actually been lost to industrial uses.
Wow.
If you took all of the silver that ever existed that exists in the world now, mm-hmm. it would be a cubic half mile. And but another cube about that size has been mined and lost, leaving another cube about that size that's still in existence. It's only about a cubic half mile from the whole planet.
Wow.
If you took all of the gold in the world, you would get like a 10-story office building.
Huh.
About that size. If you took all of the platinum that's been mined and exists in the world, it would be about the size of an average living room. So I find that kind of stuff really interesting. And there's also, gold just has this look to it. And in another video, I'm going to compare a 1964 silver dime to a 1965 nickel-clad copper dime, and show you the difference in sheen, because they really do jump out at you. The sheen does. It has this kind of it's like a whiter shine. It's more decorative. It's really cool. And you can see here, Lady Liberty walking. That's why they're called walking Liberty walking Liberty half dollars, and then the eagle on the other side. And these were a good deal. And they even threw in a wheat penny for free.
Wow.
Which I collect these too. So I go through penny rolls and I find a wheat penny every couple of weeks, and so it was cool to get that. It's a 1945. This alone is worth about 30 cents. The Walking Liberty half dollars are worth $6 to $7 each. Not just in terms of collectability, but also in terms of melt value. So this was a good deal, and I'm glad that I did it overall, but there is a catch. And the catch is that if you order from this company, you automatically get put on their mailing list, which I was expecting, because I was like, okay, there's got to be a catch. And it's like, okay, this is how they reel you in, and then you get on their mailing list, and that tempts you to buy other stuff that's more expensive and not necessarily as good of a deal. And I was prepared for that, and I'm like, well, even if they do send me more stuff, I know what to buy and what not to buy, so I'm not going to be outsmarted by them, so that's not really any danger. I'm going to get some junk mail, but that's really all there's going to be to it. Well, there was a little bit more to it, and what that was is that, and it says right here, When you order from the Littleton Coin Company, you immediately get put on the Coins on Approval service. So not only do they mail catalogs to you and stuff like that, they also mail you other coins
that you have to pay for.
That you have to pay for unless you don't want them. If you don't want them, you can send them back, and to their credit, they do cover the shipping.
Wow. Okay.
So that's a good thing. They don't just send it's like, oh, by the way, here's all these coins that you might not want, and if you want to, you can either buy them or you can send them back, but you have to pay for the shipping. That would basically be like extortion, you know?
Yeah, they probably got sued if they did something like that.
Right, so they don't do that. But if you do order from Littleton or from any similar coin company, be prepared for that. Be prepared to get sent unwanted coins as well, or potentially unwanted coins that are not going to be as good of a deal. They sent me a Mercury dime, a Buffalo nickel. They sent me a couple of modern half dollars, and then some other coins like this commemorative National Parks quarter. They sent me this stuff that really wasn't worth all that much. I kind of appraised it at about $10. Like these coins altogether are worth about $10. They wanted $20 for them. So if I had decided to keep them, it would have basically defeated the purpose of this great deal that I got here. It would have made it a lot less profitable. It actually would have made it unprofitable to. So I'm going to send those back. And I called the 800 number today, and I spoke to a very nice lady. She had sort of this very musical European accent, very nice, very pleasant voice. I spoke with her. She was very polite. I said to her that I'd like to be taken off the Coins on Approval service, and she said she didn't argue with me or anything. She did it. She did ask me if I ordered these as a gift or as a or for myself. I said as a gift. So I did. I lied to her because I wanted to sort of like end the conversation as quickly as possible, because I kind of knew that if I had said that I ordered them for myself, then she would say, well, you know, if you have an interest in coins, maybe you would be interested in this and this and this. Whereas if I say that if I ordered them as a gift, it's like you're not talking to the person who's the coin collector.
Yeah.
So they're not gonna bother you. So she was very pleasant. She did ask me if I had any interest in coin collecting myself, and I said, yeah, a limited amount of interest. And she didn't really go much further than that. She just said, okay, well, thank you very much, and I thanked her, and it was, you know, it wasn't. I don't get a sense from them that they're predatory in any way. And in fact, when I read this article here, and I did read the whole article. It sounds like they're not able to recharge your credit card. Like if you've already bought, you know, if you bought the stuff that you've already bought, they can't charge the credit card again to get the money from the stuff that you decide to keep. So their signature thing is that they actually trust their customer to send them the money. So I get the impression from everything I've read here that if you don't send them the money, and if you just keep the coins and just cut and run, they don't go after you. They probably put your name on some kind of a list where they won't send you anything more unless you order it. But I get the impression that they just kind of trust you to not keep the coins for yourself, and to, you know, send them back if you don't want them, and then or send the money if you do want them.
So what if you did the coins on demand thing, and you just said, yeah, I want to get like 2 years of coins on demand, and then I'll determine if I'm going to purchase it?
Well, I think that this program, I mean, this is something that certain coin collectors would really like, but it depends on what kind of coin collector you are. If you're some old guy who's retired and has a lot of money lying around, and you just you're looking for some excitement in your life, and that you don't have a whole lot going on, this might be a fun thing for you, like once a month to, you know, it gives you something to look forward to have these coins being sent to you every month, and going through them and deciding which ones you want and which ones you don't. So for that kind of a collector, this could be a very fun experience, especially since it's risk-free, because they do give you the free shipping stamp thing, and they let you send back what you don't want and pay for what you do want. And it sounds like the whole thing isn't heavily enforced, where, you know, if you do decide to keep it, you don't send anything, you're not going to get into any real big trouble by the sound of it. But That's really the only kind. I mean, if you're that kind of a collector who just is really passionate about this stuff and you really would love to have this stuff sent to you and kind of go through it, that's great. But if you're like me, who's more, I'm more of a, I'm in it for the money. I'm not so much. I mean, I do love coins, and I do find them interesting, and I enjoy the history and the Americana of it all. It's really, for me, it's more. I'm more collecting them as a hedge, for that. That's where I get my satisfaction, is like the knowledge of the fact that I ordered these and they're silver, and silver's going up in value for various reasons, and just my mom told an interesting story about how when she was a kid in the 1950s and early 60s, she would actually get a single dime for her weekly allowance. And she would spend that dime on M&Ms, and she'd get like a 4-ounce cup full of M&Ms. These days, those dimes that she bought those M&Ms with are worth $3 each.
Wow!
Because of the silver. So not only are they worth more, but the silver content has more buying power than the dime itself. Like, how much would 10 cents of M&Ms be now?
Like 4 of them.
Like 4. But how much would $3 of M&Ms be?
A large king size.
Right, a king size. So that demonstrates how silver has not only kept up with inflation, it actually outruns inflation. Silver, the value of silver it beats inflation, which is why it makes it such a great hedge. And it's a cool way to collect silver. Like, that's really what I am. I'm more of a silver collector. Silver and copper and precious. I'm more of a precious metals collector, and coins for me are really more of the vehicle. They're the vehicle to get the metals. Now, I appreciate the vehicle as well, but I appreciate the thing itself more. So if you're a collector like me, I would say this may not be the best thing for you. It may be kind of inconvenient. If it's not inconvenient, and if you want to go through these coins, you can. But I would also warn you that the coins that they're going to send to you are almost always going to be not as big of a deal, or not as good of a deal as the ones that you ordered from that one special deal that you happen to spot, like this one, where it's a really good deal amongst a sea of bad deals. So, and they're pretty sharp, because I looked at these coins, and they had one uncirculated 1955 coin. And it was uncirculated, but I looked at it and I spotted a single, very minor scratch on the coin. That minor scratch is what keeps it from being a fine or a very fine uncirculated silver coin to being a mint coin, which is a difference of a lot of money.
Okay.
Like, that single scratch destroys most of its value. But to somebody who's not as knowledgeable as I am, they might look at this coin and be like, oh wow, an uncirculated 1955 wheat penny, that's got to be worth hundreds of dollars. Not even noticing that little scratch that would destroy so much of its value. You know what I mean?
Yes.
So, you got to be very careful. These people know their coins, and they may know their coins better than you do. So if you're going to order from these guys, I would say you got to be up on your coins, you got to be up on your meld values. Cointrackers.com is a great resource where you can look up the current value of an average coin of a certain type. And I have nothing against Littleton coins. I really have nothing to complain about when it comes to them. I mean, I do think that they can get a little bit tricky here and there. The way they word things, they're definitely a bit manipulative. But as long as you're smart enough to keep up with them and to sort of like not fall for certain things, and if you're really into coin collecting, I'd say, like I said, if you're that 60-something-year-old retired guy with some extra money and you want something to look forward to in the mail every month or so, I'd say this is definitely a good thing to go with. And they send you catalogs. Like, here's a catalog. So if you're passionate about this stuff, I think it's a really cool thing. And but if you're kind of more like somebody who's looking for good deals like me, and you just kind of are looking and like, okay, you just check Parade or some other magazine every once in a while to find that 1 out of 10 good deal, like one good deal out of 10, or out of 9 other bad deals. You might just want to be aware of the fact that every time you order something, your name's going to be put back on this coins on approval service list. And so every time you order something from this company, you're probably going to have to call their 800 number and get your name taken off, which for some people could be inconvenient. And then there's also the fact that they're going to send you some coins with your order that you're probably not going to want, especially if you're in it for the money. And then you're going to have to make a trip to the post office and send those back. Even though they do provide the envelope and the postage, it could be inconvenient to some people. So if you're somebody with a lot of time on your hands and you're an avid coin collector, I think that this is a dream for you. I think it's something that you'll really have fun with. If you're someone like me who's really more into it for you're collecting as a hedge, you're kind of collecting more for the money and for the value and for the treasure, the metal, you might run into it just might be a bit inconvenient. So I think that's kind of the bottom line. But overall, I'm grateful to them, Littleton. You've done good. You did good by me. I mean, I'm not crazy about this. It is a very slight inconvenience having to send that money back and to call that number. But overall, I have nothing to complain about. You guys gave me three basically coal or slightly better than coal condition Walking Liberty silver dollars. That's probably over an ounce of silver there for right around melt value, maybe even a little less. And then there's the wheat penny as well. And I have no complaints personally, but I do have just a couple of warnings for you, and I've communicated those already. So I think I've run out of things to say, and I'll just say, do your research and have fun out there.